Hi guys, here we are again in Photoshop, and it was brought to my attention over the weekend that the last video that I released was on Topaz ReMask, but it was on the older version of that software. So I've gone ahead, I've upgraded my version, and I'm here to show you how Topaz ReMask 4 works. Things have changed a little bit. The big thing is really just the user interface and some naming, but the functionality is pretty much the same, and they've added a couple nice little features to help make things easier. So because I messed up, I found this photograph, which actually will do probably a better job of showcasing just how powerful Topaz ReMask is, because we have all these little tree branches to mask into our photo, because we're going to do the same thing where we remove the sky from this photo and keep the foreground. So let's get started by simply jumping into Topaz ReMask 4. So once again, it launches its own little user interface, and it's very simple. There's only a few different buttons. You have some different views here. Your original, your tri-map, which is the red, green, and blue color code that Topaz ReMask uses to determine the mask. Your mask, which I haven't done anything, so currently it is completely white. Your keep, which is currently the original photo, and same thing, your cut is almost nothing because you're not cutting anything out right now. So let's jump into our tri-map here and add our blue line, which is what Topaz uses to determine where to kind of create the boundary lines between your cut and your keep. So I like to think of it like this. Basically, your keep line is definite. That's the green stuff, and that's what you're telling Topaz you absolutely want to keep those pixels. Your red, which I'm going to fill into the sky here, is your definite cut. You want Topaz to remove all of that. And then your blue is your I don't know, I guess you could say. Basically, it's too complicated for you to go through and figure out how to kind of mask those particular areas. So you tell Topaz to kind of figure it out by computing the results based on what you've marked as cut and keep. So now it's going to take all the pixels of the photo, it's going to look at your keep, it's going to look at your cut, and then it's going to determine what this blue area is supposed to be. You can be pretty rough with your blue line here because it is kind of a compute. I'm going to clean it up just slightly here, just because I know if I have too much on the edge of this sole little branch coming up here, it'll probably remove it entirely. And again, I'm going to come in a little bit here just because I know I want to remove these things, this sky here in the middle of these branches, and if I do this now, it'll help Topaz just try and keep those. And I'm going to come in just a little bit on this area as well, just to make it a little easier on me later. So let's hit our compute mask, and Topaz will do its magic. And you can see, just based on the masking, it's done a pretty good job. And I'll jump over to the dual panel here, and I'll switch back to my tri-map, and I'll switch this one over to my keep. And then we can zoom in here. Now, previously you could only go to a 1-to-1 ratio on your zoom in, but one of the nice features of Topaz ReMask 4 is that they let you go all the way to 400%, which really will help you get into the nooks and crannies of your mask. I'm not going to go that far today. I'll probably stick around 200% just to show you the features of the program, but just so you know, you have a whole lot of control now with how far you can zoom in. So in similar manner to what I did with the Boston skyline photo, now we just have to find the areas that Topaz didn't quite get right. And to be honest, it's going to be kind of hard, because if you look at this, it did pretty darn good for most of this tree line here on the left-hand side. I could try and bring back this little bit here, but it's so faint it might not be worth the effort. But let's give it a go. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to grab my let's try the transparency here, which is basically the old dual color selector. So it allows you to select your keep color, which I'm going to select as this kind of blackish color here for the tree branch, and then I'm going to select my remove color, which is going to be the let's go to the original here, which is going to be this kind of grayish color, and then we'll paint in and see what happens. So you can see it's kind of working. You can see what it's doing on the mask over here, and then it's going to fill in. And it did do a pretty good job of bringing the branches back. We can try and get it all the way just by grabbing that and then going like this, see if that works. It did okay, but it also kind of brought in a lot of unwanted sky here. So let's try and go to our color range selector, and we're going to select the other cool feature is it allows you to change kind of the tonal range of the color that you select. So if you have a very kind of non-uniform color range, you can select a wider range, and then when you pick a color, it'll extend that range from that one color to a bunch of different shades of that color, and then you'll be able to do kind of more removal. Or if you're in a situation like I am here, where all the colors are kind of very similar, you can turn that range down and then select your color. And I actually want to go over to my remove because I want to remove my color here. And then you can paint in, and I might have gone too far here. No, it did pretty good actually. You can see here it's actually gone through and it's removed quite a bit of that mask that sky that I didn't want. I'm going to do that again and see what happens. And again, it does a pretty good job of cleaning it up. And, you know, the more you do it, the better it gets. Of course, there's going to be a little bit of give and take. As you can see, as we're doing this, we're losing some of the very, very fine branches on these trees. For trees, it's probably okay. You know, the hard things are things that don't really look natural when they're missing bits and pieces, but it's so fine here that I think we're in good shape. So let's back up just a little bit here, and what I'm going to do now is grab my primary brushes here and just see what happens if I, instead of using the color range selector, if I just go back to my tri map here and I come in and oops, I want to remove these. So let's go in here and remove. And what I'm doing now is I'm just kind of telling Topaz that these little areas here I don't want to keep. So as I do that, you can see it's kind of you know, picking out these areas that I don't want to keep, and it's filling them in for me. It's not as elegant as this thing here, so let's try this again here. Let's go and tell it that we don't want to keep this area. We want a bigger brush size. Let's go in like this and see what happens here. And that's pretty good. So again, it does a pretty good job, as you can see, of masking out in general the photo. We can clean up these branches here if you want. Let's do a quick keep here and then paint in along this. And it does pretty good there. Let's go back to 100% so we have a little more view here. Let's try bumping up the color range here. We'll do a keep. And I'm just going to paint in on all of these here and see what happens. And there they are, back in the photo. So I really honestly, I think this is something that's going to be a huge time saver for people and just make masking. It not only does it make it easier, but it makes it kind of fun too. The reason that just removed everything was because my range was a little too high there. So again, you have to remember what you're trying to mask out. And here, maybe it's still a little too high. Let's try going down to just a range of 1 here and painting over. That did a better job. Let's try range of 5. That did okay. So anyway, our mask is pretty much done. We can go back to the full view here. Go back to fit. And you can see it looks pretty good for a quick job. I mean, I only spent a few minutes here masking. I did spend a lot of time talking. So it's done a pretty good job for the amount of work that I've put into it. And obviously you can put a lot more work into creating your mask. Once you hit OK, your mask is instantly dropped back into Photoshop. And you're ready to add it to whatever photo background you want. So you can pick any sky you want and add it into this photo. You can add this photo on top of any other layer, and your background is completely empty and free for you to mold. I hope you learned something today, and I'm sorry about showing you the older version first, but this gives you kind of a real good overview of what Topaz ReMask can do. And remember, it is currently on sale until the end of July, so you can purchase it through the link below in the description here and be on your way to masking photos. So thank you for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.